One more for the one time. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. And this is the final, I believe, or second to last, either final or second to last video that we are going to do for X-Men 97 Season 1. We are about a month out from the end of one of the best things that Marvel Studios has ever produced, X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. We've been on this journey. You guys were along with us throughout the season, and we appreciate you for that. So that's why we got together the Charles Xavier School for the Gifted community board of directors of myself, Wendy, and Ness. We put together our list of every season one episodes ranked. We ranked every single episode, all 10 episodes of X-Men 97 season one. But like always, like we said during the reviews, I'll say it here. These are our opinions on X-Men 97. This is not the opinion. This is not the ranking. We want to make it a conversation. So if you're watching this video, this is pre-recorded. If you're watching this, you can sound off in the live chat during the review. But most of all, we want to see your comments down below and let us know how you ranked every single episode of X-Men 97. You could do it by the name of the episode. You could do it by the episode number. But give us your ranking of X-Men 97 Season 1 episodes. So it was a long season. We got through it, started in March, ended at the end of May, and we had a month or so to kind of let it all marinate, let it all absorb. Some of us watched the season twice. I think I've watched it either twice or three times already. X-Men 97 season 1, and we put together our collective list. Now, what we did is we ranked it, of course, 1 through 10. 10 being the lowest ranked episode, with 1 being the highest ranked. First place for each of us got 10 points. Second place got 9 points. Third place got 8 points. Fourth, seventh, fifth, sixth, so on and so forth, until the last ranked number 10 got 1 point. And we put the numbers together between our 3 lists, and this is how we came up with our ranking of every X-Men 97 season 1 episode. So, like I said before, let us know your ranking, but most of all, remember, drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your X-Men 97 and Marvel fans, comic book fans galore, animation fans, cartoon fans, whatever fans that you fit in the genre of X-Men 97. You can share it with them on all your favorite social media platforms. And of course, hit the subscribe button, because we got more True Hill Heat sports and entertainment. Our shorts cover NBA, NFL, and MLB, as well as our entertainment side, where we're covering right now Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, the final season. We're also going to be reviewing The Bear when that premieres. That is coming up at the end of June. So I think we're like 1 week out from the season premiere of The Bear. So I'm looking forward to it. Actually, we're just a couple of days. I think it's on next Thursday or so. This video will probably be dropping on a Sunday or during the week. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. But let's get into our X-Men 97 season 1 episodes ranked. And we're going to start off with number 10. And this number 10 is actually the only episode that we all agreed was our lowest rank. This was the only one that we all were in agreement in. This was like a unanimous pick. So coming in at number 10 is Motendo / Life Death Part 1. Now, there's nothing really wrong with this one. I thought the animation was really good, and I'm a big fan of Jubilee, and giving her the opportunity to kind of have center stage, have the spotlight here, telling her story of living in the nostalgia of it all, of the old past journeys of the X-Men. And I love Mojo as well. So there's nothing really wrong with this episode, but in the grand scheme of X-Men 97 season 1, this is no doubt, in my opinion, the worst episode. I was it not the best episode. It was kind of a in its own world with the Motendo world. You also had Life Death Part 1, which felt like very much the first half of a story, an incomplete story. The Motendo part of this, well done. And I think if that was the whole episode, maybe it would rank higher. But I feel like this episode would have fit better in a season 2, in my opinion. So Motendo and Life Death Part 1 is at number 10 on our list. Coming in at number 9 with 10 points overall. So some of us had it a little bit higher than others, but for me, this is kind of where I had it ranked. Number 9 is Life Death Part 2, episode 6, which was the follow up to what happened in episode 4 with Life Death Part 1, telling the story of Storm and her battle with the adversary and regaining her powers, finding that her powers were within, but once again, even though this is Life Death Part 2 is the title, this isn't centered on Storm. I think that if they would have combined Part 1 and Part 2 together, we would have had a stronger episode here and told a more complete story. I know they wanted to spread things out, and there's a big episode in between the Part 1 and Part 2 of this, so that makes it difficult to follow along for some people as well. But it was also centered around discovering what's going on with Charles Xavier in in the Xandar, in the he's trying to be accepted as the new king, the new emperor, with his Mrs. Leandra. And he has the nice classroom scene, which is really good, showing off his powers and stuff like that. And we see Charles discovering what happened to the X-Men in Genosha, and we also see that with Storm at the end. But it just, I honestly was just like, I think that we would have been better off if we never had Charles come back. Honestly, sorry, Charles, sorry, but you were busy just spying on your kids, watching them make love with each other. You said it, I didn't. You said it. So number 9, Life Death Part 2. Coming in at number 8, we have Fire Made Flesh, episode 3. So this was the follow-up from a really good episode 2, where at the end we discovered that there is 2 Jean Greys. And the Jean that has been with us is not the actual first Jean. She is Madeline Pryor. And we see Madeline being, possessed by Mr. Sinister, and she becomes the Goblin Queen. She takes baby Nathan after giving birth to him in episode 2, and we have the good battle that goes on between the Goblin Queen and the X-Men. They also the great battle in the astral plane between Jean and Madeline, and Madeline at the end, teaming up with Scott to save their baby, save it from Mr. Sinister, but Mr. Sinister basically gives Nathan the techno virus, which forces baby Nathan to go into the future with Bishop, and he is on his own, and he becomes Cable in the long run of all of this. I thought it was a good episode that really fits in well with what they did in the rest of the season, but it also feels like this is kind of a rush job. That's it. Like, if you know the comic books and the Inferno saga that happens in the comic book, it goes over a course of like a year. So to have it all be done in one episode, done and kind of folded up in one, some people are going to be upset about that. It's kind of similar to the feelings about Life Death, where maybe if it was one episode, I would have liked it more, but also if it was one episode, it would feel rushed because the whole drama with Storm is longer in the comic books. But it's the same thing with Madeline Pryor and Jean Grey and the Goblin Queen. It's a much longer story that they all compact into one episode. So I can understand anyone who's a little disappointed by that. But coming in at number 8 with 11 points. So still better than the last 2, I guess. 8's better than 10. So there you have it. Coming in at number 7, we have the episode that preceded Fire Made Flesh. It was Mutant Liberation Begins. coming in with 13 points. This has one of my favorite scenes of the entire season one. Magneto on trial and his whole monologue talking about the difference between mutants and how he relates to the mutant liberation that's going on, to living through the Holocaust and losing his family, and the battle that goes on with the Friends of Humanity and the X-Men with the Executioner. This is the episode where Storm loses her powers thanks to the Executioner's special like gamma radiation or whatever it is type gun that basically takes Storm's powers away, and then Magneto pulling the whole freaking court from to the into the sky with the Executioner basically crucified on the earth, on the United States. That was great stuff. Magneto was the MVP for sure of this episode. But yeah, this was a really good one. I had it much higher than Ness and Wendy. This was in probably my top 5 episodes of the season, because I thought this was really where X-Men 97 turned the next page on the season and really started focusing on bigger world issues, and it became more prevalent in my eyes. So I was much higher than my friends, but still a modest grade for number 7 with 13 points. Mutant Liberation Begins, episode 2. Now we're gonna move on to number 6. Number 6 is Bright Eyes, episode 7, coming in at number 6. This came in with 14 points overall, and this was the real follow-up to Remember It, episode 5, where the X-Men in Genosha, and we get the big loss of the season, and we see the reaction and the consequences to that with Rogue here. Rogue is really grieving throughout this episode, and she's on a rampage. We get a cameo from Captain America, which is awesome. We get Storm rushing on Guy Ridge and sucking his brain powers out of him, basically, and we get the revelation that Bastion has basically possessed, made Trask into a human sentinel, and that there more than just Trask is a human sentinel that is going on here. So this was a big discovery point that really set up the final 3 episodes of the season and the arc of Tolerance is Extinction. We learn of the OZT, Operation Zero Tolerance, in this episode. So a lot went down. This one was a very good one, and I think it was right under my top 5 here. So pretty much the perfect spot, in my opinion, for this episode. Bright Eyes, quality stuff, and Rogue taking center stage, I thought was great stuff in this episode. Now we're going to move on to the top 5. Here we go. Top 5, coming in at number 5 is episode 1 of season 1 of X-Men 97. To me, my X-Men. This was the introduction, and man, just the final sequence of the X-Men fighting the zombie Sentinels is class A. That is what we expected from X-Men 97. It brought all the feels, all the nostalgia from the animated series, all in basically like a 10-minute sequence. Storm coming in with the intro, giving the forecast, and then the slow piano drum, and she makes the whole desert into ice and basically rips apart all the zombie Sentinels. What a scene. Of course, Wolverine getting his claws lit up by Gambit, getting the bounce from Morph, who becomes Blob, and then cutting the head off of Master Mole. This quality X-Men stuff, X-Men animated series all into one in this episode. You had the first scene, which I feel like the first scene with Cyclops totally changed the narrative of 20 years that we had to deal with ever since the X-Men movies of Cyclops not being respected. They fix it in like the first scene with him, where he's gliding around with the optic blast, taking out, punching fools. Then he's the one that makes the save for Sunspot. We're introduced to Sunspot here and his relationship with Jubilee, which become a subplot throughout the rest of the season. And we're given kind of the the subtext of this of the X-Men trying to move on from the death or Professor X going away to basically help himself after being in a coma at the end of season 5 of the animated series, and he's in outer space basically with Leandra, and the X-Men have to respond and have to deal with everything, have to deal with all the fallout. Guy Rich going into Guy Rich head with Jean, which really was a foreshadowing of what would become the main villain of the season in Bastion. So much good stuff in this one. And then at the end, the big cliffhanger at the end that they kind of gave away in the trailer of Magneto taking over the school and the X-Men. Top notch, class A stuff. Definitely worthy of being in the top 5 with 15 points overall, if I might add there. So now we're going to hit the top 4, folks. Top 4, number 4, we're going to the season finale, well, part 2 of the season finale. Tolerance is Extinction, and it is part 2. Tolerance is Extinction, part 2, episode 9, coming in with 21 points. All the rest of the ranking, all in the 20s, where pretty much all of us had these in our top 5, basically. So these are why these are so highly ranked. So number 21, Tolerance is Extinction, part 2. And what can I say that hasn't already been said about that ending? The ending of Magneto ripping the animatium off of the bone of Wolverine. It was one of the most impactful scenes of the entire season. My jaw was on the floor at the end of this. I was completely stunned. But there was just so much drama in this one from, this is the first episode really with Charles Xavier back in the mansion, back with the X-Men, and he's kind of seeing the consequences of him going away and being away from his X-Men. And you got Rogue turning on the X-Men and aligning with Magneto, who is hell-bent on vengeance after what happened with Bastion kidnapping him following the incident in Genosha. And just the outcome of that is really felt in this one, where the X-Men are pretty much split. And we see the battle of Rogue going against her former partners. You see Sunspot turning on Jubilee and having to fight against her as well. And just the X-Men are in a state of flux. They're trying to come up with different ideas to combat. You have one team that goes after Bastion, one team that goes after Magneto, and it seems like the X-Men have no way that they're going to win this one in the end. Part 2 was really quality stuff that had you on the edge of your seat right up until one of the craziest visuals you will ever see in a cartoon animated series. Now it's the top 3, folks. And we're going right back to Tolerance is Extinction, but actually back to episode 8, Tolerance is Extinction, part 1. This is how you start off a 3-part finale with the really kind of the origin story of Bastion being told here as Jean, Scott, and Cable, the Summers family, have to go and find Bastion. So they go back to his family home. They meet his mother, and they find out how Bastion became to be. He's basically the offspring of Master Mole, and the offspring of Master Mole, who's basically a human sentinel that come to life. And he is hell-bent on the end of mutants. You got all of that going down. The human sentinels who come and attack the mansion. The Wolverine Nightcrawler scene is one of my favorites of the entire series, because Wolverine was really not given the spotlight throughout this season, but he's one of my favorites, my absolute favorites in the X-Men. So to give him center stage with that moment with him and Nightcrawler was in the bag here. He's brought back in episode 5, but he really takes center stage and becomes a part of the X-Men in this episode here. You got Trish Dilly, who becomes a human sentinel. There's so much that goes down in this one, and just Bastion just feels like the biggest obstacle the X-Men have to overcome in this episode. And of course, the big line at the end, Magneto was right, and Magneto basically takes down all the human sentinels by cutting all the power on Earth. People die because of Magneto, but that's another point for another day. But number 3, Tolerance is Extinction, Part 1, Episode 8, with 23 points. So just 2 points higher than Episode 9 at number 4. 23 points overall. All right, top 2 time. Coming in at number 2 with 27 points, very close, just 2 points off from number 1, 4 points higher than number 3. To number 2, Tolerance is Extinction, Part 3, the grand finale of X-Men 97 season 1. And this one, just everything culminating, the battle with Bastion, Cable. You get the return of Phoenix, you get the return of Apocalypse at the end, and the battle with, you got the X-Men who are dealing with Charles and Magneto after Charles takes over the mind of Magneto and has an inner turmoil, an inner battle with one another. We go back to them in Germany where they basically come out to one another. This is just great stuff. The subtext, the overall philosophy of the two men really brought to the forefront here with this conversation, with this ideology battle that they've always had. And they talk about it in the bar inside of Magneto's mind, and all the cameos from Black Panther to the Iron Man. Captain America is back. We see Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Mary Jane are here. Daredevil's here. Cloak and Dagger is here. This is just cameos beyond cameos beyond cameos. Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, all of the Avengers are here, it seems, and just it makes the big Marvel universe of the animated world just as interesting, if not more interesting, than the current Marvel MCU universe that we are living in. This was just a grand finale in every way, and not only did it conclude the Tolerance is Extinction arc with Bastion being defeated, and then the real enemy of the humans who send bombs and basically are about to send Asteroid M and destroy Earth and destroy New York City. It's up to the X-Men who basically have to make it all explode. Thanks with the help of Magneto, who finally realizes who he is and helps the X-Men. And then the X-Men are basically stranded throughout time. And maybe Apocalypse is the only one that can help them. God knows what's going to happen in season 2, but that is how you close the book on X-Men 97 season 1. So Tolerance is Extinction Part 3 coming in at number 2 with 27 points overall. Well, finally, I think a lot of you knew because of our praise of it on our reviews, our praise of it throughout the rest of the season. Really, we kept talking about this episode because this was peak cinema and one of the greatest things Marvel, if not X-Men 97 overall, this one episode is the best thing that happened in X-Men 97 and the best thing that's happened to Marvel in years. It's Remember It. Episode 5, Remember It, the basically the tragedy in Genosha and Gambit. Gambit taking center stage, fighting off the big Godzilla type Sentinel, taking it out, but in the process sacrificing himself and dying. One of the most shocking endings to anything I have ever seen from Marvel. It's right up there with Infinity War, with Thanos winning. You should have aimed for the head. Gambit saying, "My name's Gambit. Remember it." And destroying the Godzilla Sentinel. Magneto was great in this episode with him trying to seduce and bring Rogue as his queen of Genosha after he's asked to become the king of Genosha. And then the love triangle coming to a head. The great conversation, the great monologue between Gambit and Rogue, kind of and analyzing their relationship of how the Gambit realizes that their love is more than skin deep. It's more than just being able to touch one another. Their love is stronger than that. And he didn't need to, make love to her or kiss her to show her that. He told her that with his words, and it took Rogue having to kiss Magneto because she can. And that is how she realizes that Gambit is her one true love. We get Cable showing up in this one, trying to warn his mother, Madeline Pryor, that he's coming, talking about Bastion and this Godzilla Sentinel. This is an amazing piece of art. This is just tremendous. And I will say this was probably got number one because each and every one of us had it at either number one or number two. Ness was the only one that didn't have it at number one, but me and Wendy did. So it got 29 points overall, a near 30, a near perfect score when it comes to our ranking between the three of us. Remember it, number one, X-Men 97, season one episodes ranked, and this is deserving of number one 100%. Like, I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna keep watching X-Men 97 until season two premieres in 2025. This was just excellent cinema. Remember, it could have been the whole series, could have been a special, and I would have been fine if they followed up in season two. That's how you end a season, really. Would remember it in Genosha, but just everything that transpired after it and the impact of this episode throughout the rest of the season, it's just wow. It felt like Bo DeMayo said on Twitter. He said he wanted it to feel like the 9/11 for the X-Men, and it did. It did. So many people died in Genosha thanks to this Godzilla Sentinel taking out everybody. This is where we really realize the threat that is Bastion, that we eventually discover in Bright Eyes and Tolerance and Extinction Part One. This just amazing. Just amazing. I can't compliment it enough. It was definitely going to be my number one as soon as we came up with the idea to do a season one episodes ranked. So it got number one, and I'm happy to be a part of that. But like I said at the top, that is our list. That is not the list. We want to know what you think. What did you think about X-Men 97 season one, and what was your favorite episode of the season? What did you think was the best episode of the season? What did you think was the worst episode of the season? You can sound off in the live chat if you're with us live on this one, but if you're watching it on demand, the most important thing you can do is comment down below and let us know what you thought overall, and how do you rank the episodes 1 through 10 for season one of X-Men 97. Just talking about these episodes again gets me so excited to rewatch it and see if I still have the same ranking after that. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, and remember to drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your X-Men 97 friends and family on all your favorite social media platforms, and come back because we'll be talking more X-Men as we gear up for Deadpool and Wolverine in the month of July. We're also going to have some content talking about the X-Men cinematic universe. We're going to talk about it. Me and Josh are going to talk about some X-Men movies as we gear up for Deadpool and Wolverine. And yes, we will have a review of Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll give y'all a week to watch it. So after it drops in theaters, we'll wait a week and then we will review Deadpool and Wolverine. We won't do it that weekend because we want people to watch. We don't want to spoil anything. We're not into the spoiler type things. We're into talking about it and discussing it with all of you, but we will do a live video for that one. But like I said before, give us your rankings in the comments down below and come back as we'll have more True Hill Heat sports and entertainment content. If you like our lives, join us for Power Book 2 Ghosts Season 4, Episode 3 review. That is on Mondays that we're going to have our Power Book 2 Ghost reviews. But check out, in the meantime, Episode 1 review. Our Episode 2 review is up as well. We got our character tier list video that is up as well for you to check out. And check out all our X-Men 97 Season 1 reviews if you haven't already. But that is all for me for now. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our X-Men 97 Season 1 episodes ranked. I am signing off until next time. Later, y'all.